All right, so hot seat time now. Then we can send it for further stopping crime and everything. There's a popular YouTuber out there.
I was gonna ask.
There's a popular YouTuber out there that seems to have a lot of knowledge about criminal activities and the goings on about the criminal underworld by the name of Sir P. He runs the channel Politricks Watch. I said that right?
Yeah, Politricks Watch.
No.
Are you Sir P?
No, I was going to ask, like, one, are you Sir P? Two, do you know the identity of Sir P? I'm just asking, Say,
People. Nothing about yourself.
So I guess this answer my next follow-up question.
Stay circling.
Even though you're not answering it. I don't know answer. You notice that? Yeah?
Deflect.
Yeah, deflection technique.
I am absolutely not Sir P, and I have no idea who he is.
Okay, cool. That's what Sir P would say. Yeah. So
I feel like you're just doing this for views, you know.
No,
I think you're just doing this. I'm just a little YouTuber.
No. So how much does the JCF pay attention to his videos?
Yeah.
Why are you asking me about a specific YouTuber?
I have to ask you because it seemed like a lot. Not seem like it is. There is a lot of stats to support that people get a lot of their information from this YouTuber in regards to several.
And he seems so trustworthy to so many people.
Knowledgeable about certain things going on within that space. So I just want to ask, do you guys pay attention to his channel and watch it?
And because it seemed like he have so much information, like credible information too. I took it with a grain of salt. But to say he said something and then days after somebody in the interest industry.
Well, I mean,
got arrested.
Information and intelligence is gathered via many means.
Yeah.
And we don't own the monopoly in the JCF on information and intelligence or information that can rise to the level of intel. So I'm not going to say that somebody else can have information and intelligence, especially if they come from a particular background that allows them to do so.
But does the JCF get information from it?
Get information from
like when you watch him channel and say, yo, this look like it.
To get information?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I wouldn't say that. I watch Sir P a lot. I'm not like a patron. I'm not
Let's
like.
say your name not listed at the beginning.
I'm not like Vulture Squad. I mean, you know.
That's hilarious.
I'm not PIA. But I listen. And I listen for entertainment, and I listen
not
to hear.
Not to gather intelligence.
I listen to because sometimes it's just I listen just like how I take a very modern approach to news and current affairs discussion. So in the same way that I would listen to Beyond the Headlines in the evening and Nationwide at 5 and Power 106 A Morning Agenda, I listen to Sir P every day, or if I miss it, I'll catch up on another day. I'll catch up on the weekends. I'll sip my bush tea on a Sunday.
It's him.
Absolutely not. But like, first of all, I'm sure.
Do you have a unicorn to sell us?
I was about to say, if you think I'm Sir P, then I have a tin of unicorn meat to tell you.
Oh God.
But like, and I highly doubt even that because of how good he is at masking his voice. Like his voice is probably, hi guys. I don't even think his voice is deep, Is Sir P even a sir? Like, I just think he's good at what he does. And so... Or she. So for instance, I watch or listen. I listen just like because I would listen to a call-in show or something like that. Because vloggers, YouTubers are a significant part now of the broader media landscape. And I listen because I like it. Even if Sir P don't particularly like me or if he don't agree with I say, I'm not here for you to agree with me.
So it sounds like he has publicly stated that he disagree with something that you said in particular.
Is that so?
No, I wonder.
No, I'm just saying. Just like anybody else in media, in media, you don't have to agree with the positions that I take for me to listen to you. I mean, if I think that you're good at what you do, and he's good at what he does, I'm going to listen.
How accurate is he?
I'm not going to comment on that.
So not you. So what about other members of the JCF? Do you have knowledge of them paying keen attention to his videos? And
there are more than 12,000 members of the JCF. I would say yes.
High-ranking members.
High-ranking is relative, but I would say people listen that throughout the ranks of the JCF. I mean, if something comes up, sometimes you'll see something drop in a WhatsApp group. Yo, you hear this? Yo, what do you think of this thing? Because some of the
does
times
that lead to investigations?
Nah, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Utopia Life Herbal Sir P and Culture. Combined for a one-of-a-kind experience. You can visit them at 10A West Kings House Road, just across from the Canadian Embassy. Also, you can follow them on Instagram at Utopia Life or visit their webpage at utopialife.com for the latest info on strains and merch. This video is also brought to you by Pure 24, pure natural supplements designed to enhance the body and mind. They make supplements affordable, effective, and easy to use. You can visit their website at pure24store.com. Their product ship worldwide. I don't know, so you can use that promo code TheFix to get 50% off all purchases. That's promo code TheFix. That's a new pointing technique, just. Okay, all right. To get 50% off all purchases. All right.
Because it's very, very uncanny. You know, he said something this week and then a couple weeks after.
Yeah, but maybe it's because he said something because he gets information sometimes from the same place that we get information sometimes. I don't know.
I think he works in law enforcement. Do you think is that
wouldn't that be against whatever contract
or policy of the JCF?
I'm not gonna comment on that. I don't know. I don't know where he works. I don't know where he works. You're not making mash up Sir P. You know? I mean, I have my own thoughts, but I mean, I just, you know.
I mean, and there's no need or you don't have any desire to unmask him or her.
Absolutely not. I think he serves a particularly useful function.
Corruption.
I mean, you know, I think he serves a particularly useful function.
Yeah.
I mean, especially on YouTube, there's a growing community of people who now talk about law enforcement stuff. Because they're realizing that he has a niche.
Yeah.
And so there are people who are saying, I need to get on that law enforcement niche. And so they're jumping on it now, on the bandwagon and trying to be a poor man's Sir P. But I mean, they're clearly not as good at it, but they maybe get numbers that can get them a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and is JCF the overall policy like police officers themselves to like, do you ask them not to engage in like social media activities, vlogging and things like that, like Sir P? So if them do something like for them family, I'm sure that's fine. But if it's to share intelligence and I guess
there's a social
matters,
there's
like
a social media policy
right
in the JCF. And so that's supposed to guide how we engage on social media.
Yeah.
And so if you are in proximity to certain even outside of the social media policy, there's certain commitments that you have to make to not share information that you come in contact with.
Right.
And even outside of that, I know there are several instances of police officers doing things on social media.
TikTok.
That were unbecoming, like
oh yeah, the gunman and the gunman shift, yeah.
There are a lot of things that people do on social media that have people you get into trouble with it, but it's not peculiar to policing or to police. We exist in a world where so for me as a social media strategist, as a manager, I am very much aware, just like how we talk about different demographics, there are people who are digital immigrants like me, and then there are people who are digital natives. And digital natives perceive social media and what is sharing or oversharing or inappropriate or appropriate sharing differently than other people, which is why they need guidance sometimes. Yeah. And this is true of teachers, nurses, doctors. I've seen young doctors share things that they shouldn't share on social media. I've seen soldiers share things that they shouldn't share. I've seen journalists share things that they shouldn't share. And it's more a challenge of managing young professionals who are operating in this space, but then ban comes to social media. You understand? So then ban comes to social media. I mean, literally, we have people in the JCF who ban in the 2000s.
Wow.
Crazy.
I'm like,
fresh out of high school.
You know? So for me, it's about ensuring, and also social media policies of all organizations have to be dynamic and evolving.
Right.
Because a social media policy written in 2012
it's not the same
it's
now.
not the same now. You understand?
Because people make a living like outside of their like 9-to-5 job. They can make a living vlogging and do things like that. So I'm just like, is the JCF strict on that? And even somebody like Sir P, who would seem to have really first-hand knowledge. It seemed like him have credible first-hand knowledge. Like, is the JCF
why you keep on trying to come back to Sir P?
Because Sir P seemed like a credible operative of JCF.
Man,
him seemed like an investigator. I wouldn't even surprise if he's Anthony Anderson.
Protect him identity.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
He has
okay, hello. I don't want you to create any proximity with myself and the good individual. I would say good gentleman, but the good individual, Sir P, because there are people who love him and there are people who don't love him, and I don't want the people who don't love him
do you think
to take
because
issue with me.
You think that because he
but
seems as
people don't love him naturally.
Do you think it's because he seems like on the fringe, like him a rebel, a rogue, like somebody that is operating outside of the fringe? Why he's, I guess,
people
adored.
like him because he's created a movement. And he's talking. Hold on, no. And he's talking about things that have needed to be spoken about. He's outing people who've needed to be outed, and law enforcement can't. And so, like, when he shares, he has, for instance, if you listen to him long enough, he clearly has great information about particular spaces. He can speak in depth about particular spaces, and he speaks fairly well about other spaces. And so, like, if you listen to him, I think in the grand scheme of modern digital social media, he serves a purpose. He meets a demand. If you look at his engagement numbers, if you look at his followership and comments and etc. and shares, it is clear that he is serving a demand online.
And as I said, he has tapped into a niche.
Exactly. And he's tapped into a niche so much so that you have copycats now.
I like it through my Netflix stars. Me a go give you that style, but me tired of the fussing and the fighting, girl. Time for you ride it, girl. Tired of the war and the quarrel, girl. Time for you ride it. Them gyal suck me like a sweetie. Them off a pay while them gyal give it freely. Like really? Yeah, really. Dog, we no give a fuck if you want pre me. Man a band killer go and go hawks beanie. Never miss match when me stepping on the street G. Pipe up, girl, you know me not tease you.